A woman makes Aliyah, and now she's so excited to celebrate Rosh Hashanah for the first time in the Holy Land. But first, she wants to send Rosh Hashanah cards to her friends back in Canada. She goes to a post office in Tel Aviv to buy stamps to mail the cards. She says to the clerk, "May I have 50 stamps for my Rosh Hashanah cards?" The clerk says, "Sure. What denomination?" And the woman replies, "Oh my gosh, has it really come to this? Fine. Give me 6 Orthodox, 12 Conservative, and 32 Reform." I want to talk to you today about your year of Shemitah. The biblical concept of Shemitah, or sabbatical year, or more correctly, year of release, is the 7th year of the 7-year agricultural cycle mandated by the Torah in the land of Israel. Remarkably, it is still observed in these current times. In fact, 5782, this very new year that we are welcoming, is a year of Shemitah. In the year of Shemitah, the land must have a complete rest, debts are to be forgiven, and slaves are to be released. It is an amazing thing. People looked forward to the Shemitah because no matter how much they still owed, no matter how in debt they were, in the 7th year, they were set free. All the pain, struggling, and suffering is gone in a single day. This is a teaching for all of us, that God doesn't intend us to struggle forever. Sometimes we do struggle for a long time, and when that happens, we think, this is the way it's always going to be. I will always struggle in my finances. I will never get any good break. I will never find a good partner. I will always be unhappy in my marriage. My health will never improve. Too often, we see it as permanent. The message is, we may be struggling today, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Our Shemitah is coming. Because it doesn't happen today, it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. Because it didn't happen in 5781, it doesn't mean it won't happen in 5782. There is a very inspiring story, the first book of Kings. We read about a terrible famine and a drought that hit the land of Israel for 3 years. People were desperate and hopeless. But the prophet Elijah went up to the top of the Mount Carmel and prayed for rain. Then he asked his servant, "Look towards the sea. Can you see any clouds?" And his servants replied, "There are no clouds." 6 times Elijah said, "Check again," and got the same answer. There are no clouds. Eventually, the 7th time, the servant said, "Wait, now there is a cloud coming up out of the sea, but it's no bigger than a man's hand." Elijah said to his servant, "You have to get ready. Rain is coming." A little later, the sky grew black. The clouds, the winds came, and heavy rain began falling. Is there anything in your life that seems permanent? Remember then, the answer is no. Instead, God is saying, you need to get ready. Rain is coming. Shemitah is coming. You are coming into your 7th year. It isn't a coincidence that Elijah told his servant to get ready. Sometimes we must develop the right mindset in order to receive the blessing. For starters, we must believe that it's possible, and we have to be able to see it, to envision it. The 7th year is a year of release. Release from sickness, from depression, worry, anxiety, and bad habits. But we must do our parts and believe that we have what it takes to see the release happening in our lives. On Saturday, August 28th, we had an incredible, moving selichot and healing service, live from this very sanctuary. If you missed it, the good news is that you can still play it from Sherry Zedek YouTube channel. Okay? We have an archive there. You can still play that service. During that service, we had not only the amazing voice of Cantor Leslie, but also a violinist, a percussionist, and a conga drummer. What you may not know is that I had the vision, the dream of a healing service for many years. I've seen people dealing with physical, mental, and spiritual illnesses for way too long, and realize that unless we are proficient in Jewish prayer, there is not much material in the Siddur or the Machzor to help sick people handle the reality. So I thought, why not create a service to help all those people? Well, maybe, I don't know, is that even a Jewish thing? Maybe next year. Believe me, there was always something. And for one reason or another, such a service never happened until August 28th, 2021. I feel that that was a Shemitah moment, when I was finally released from excuses and impediments. As of today, that video has had thousands of views on YouTube and Facebook. Deep inside, I knew that with the amazing talent we have here at the Sherry Zedek, it was only a question of time before this service could be a reality. You can create your own Shemitah year, but you must believe in yourself first. Now, the second book of Kings talks about another time of importance, a time when Samaria was sieged by the Syrians, and there was no more food in the city. Surprisingly, the prophet Elisha, not Elijah, this was Elisha, proclaimed, "By this time tomorrow, a measure of flour will be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley also for a shekel at the gates of Samaria." Yeah, that is like saying that a loaf of bread will be sold for a penny. Then, one of the advisors of the king who overheard
Elisha's proclamations laughed
and said that such a thing was impossible.
Elisha replied,
Looking at this man, "You will see it with your eyes, but you will not eat from it." Immediately after, we read about 4 lepers that were sitting outside the city gates of Samaria. Since lepers were separated and sent to a special camp, they say to each other, "We have nothing to lose. If we stay here, we're going to starve to death. Let's go down to the enemy's camp, and maybe they will show mercy to us." As they walked towards the enemy, God miraculously enhanced the sounds of their footsteps. It sounded like a huge army approaching. The enemy got spooked and took off running for their lives. As a result, all their food and supplies were left behind. The lepers went back and told the people in Samaria what had happened. The people of Samaria were in awe. Of course, they went and looted the enemy camp. And guess what? A measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, just
as Elisha has promised.
The Bible also follows the story of the king's advisor who mocked
Elisha's words.
It says that when the people came back, he saw them coming with the food, but that people of Samaria knocked him down at the gate and trampled him. The advisor died and did not taste the food, as it was prophesied. Now, of course, I don't take this story literally, but rather as a powerful allegory. The principle this story is trying to teach us is that if we don't believe we can see something different in our lives, then we won't. We have endured difficult times for way too long. But because 5781 was a challenging year, it doesn't mean that 5782 must be the same. This is a year of Shemitah, a reminder that our limitations are not permanent. I spoke with you yesterday about how important it is for us to envision the change, the blessing, and to embrace the chance to change. A year of blessing, a year of healing, a year of new strength, a year of strong relationships. Let's believe it together. My wife's mantra since the start of the pandemic has been, we are all at this together. As a reminder to be kind to each other and help each other. Let us all work together to make it happen. A new year of strength and health, and yes, joy. Shana Tova Umetuka.